schmucks like me come out and grade you all the time. It's just a horrible league. What if Drew Bledsoe sat around all day and graded sportscasters? It'd be terrible.
Oh man, it would be rough for you guys, dude. It'd be really rough. I might try. I might try it. Actually, there was a time some buddies and I sat on you like, we should do that one time. And I obviously can't share with you on there. You did all right, bud. You came out okay. But some of your cohorts, man, we had some interesting things to say. It was pretty funny.
Hopefully you were drinking your double back wine that made the night better. So
definitely.
Let me start with this. We saw another story with Russell Wilson come out, and I defended quarterbacks today. I said, we love our soccer stars and our UFC boxers and our home run hitters and our NBA stars. We give them a little ego. You're the best in the world. But if a quarterback shows he doesn't want to be in your little box, the Packers are drafting Jordan Love and the Seahawks want to move him, did you ever feel in the NFL sometimes a little restrained by the ecosystem of the NFL?
There's no question, Colin. As a quarterback, you're part of your job is to be a politician. You have to learn how to say a lot without saying anything. And the minute that you express, a real opinion, man, you're just criticized, up and down, left and right. And so, look, as a quarterback of Russell's stature, I think part of what's going on, people asked if you wanted some input on player decisions. And, shoot, they asked me about player decisions. They asked the quarterback about player decisions. You just can't admit that they actually ask you about it. Then you set yourself up. Then you set yourself up to be criticized. Well, that player didn't work out, and Russ picked him. Well, no, you don't want that either. So it's a hard line to walk. You've got to try to do the right thing all the time, and then sometimes when you do the right thing, you get criticized for that. So it's part of the game. That's it's one of the reasons that quarterbacks make a ton of money. It's just you have these other responsibilities that other players don't have.
Yeah, I like how you said that. You got to be a little bit of a politician. So Dak Prescott is, whether you love him or not, it's been 2 years where we've talked contract and he hasn't gotten a contract. And I'll be honest with you. I try to sometimes put myself in the athlete's perspective. If I was hanging out there for 2 years and my company wouldn't offer me a contract, at some point, I think there'd be a little bitterness. Like, was there ever a point in your career like you thought, like, guys, I'm giving you everything. I'm giving you everything. How do you think that lands for Dak?
Well, I think it's frustrating, but it's also, and again, I make it firm policy not to talk about somebody else's money. But I also know that they've been in negotiation for a number of years, and in a negotiation there's give and take, and so I do think at some point, hopefully they meet at an agreeable point for both of them, so that Dak can be there for a long time. Because I've said this before, I really like Dak. I really truly do. I think he's a heck of a player. He's a great leader. I think he brings that other aspect to the game, because when he's not in the pocket, he can actually pull it down and run for yards. And the quarterback in the Cowboys, I did that for a couple of years. It's a different kind of job, man. and Dak seems to stand up underneath that kind of pressure very, very well. Doesn't seem to phase him very much, and that's a big part of playing quarterback down there.
So I was talking to LeVar Arrington earlier about this. I said, and LeVar Arrington brought up a good point. He said there's a reason the same coaches win every year in the NFL and college. There's a lot of bad coaches. And yesterday, Dan Campbell in Detroit goes, I don't mind being known as a meathead. And I thought, slow down. I don't want my coach saying that. You don't have to name names. But were there times, maybe it wasn't a head coach, it was a coordinator, or it was a position coach. Did you feel at times, Drew, that you had the second best coach on Sunday? That you just felt like, I don't have the best back support here?
Well, yeah. So let's be honest. When I left New England, I had to go back and face Belichick, twice a year. And so I don't think any coach would feel like I was sliding him up when I said that we were at a disadvantage from that standpoint. I will tell you, I love Danny Campbell. He was with me in Dallas for a year. He's just a high intensity dude. And I really wish him the best. And I actually think for the first time, the Lions are kind of set up going forward. They got a mountain of draft picks now. If they do things right, he's going to have some personnel, and I just hope he puts good coordinators around him.
Yeah. Do you think coaching on average, though, is good, average? I mean, in your career, is it excellent, good, solid, or just okay?
There's a very broad range, Colin, and I've talked with some buddies that I played with for a number of years, and there were a lot of very good coaches, obviously. But the frustration that I think some guys have is that when you get to the NFL, you're the best of the best, right? You're the best of the best that's ever played, and you finally get there. You think that across the board, the coaching is going to be the same. And there were, coaches that I had in college, even a couple of coaches that I had in high school, that would have been better coaches in some cases than some of the guys that were coaching in the NFL. And that's, and it's like, hey, look, there's great coaches in high school. There's great coaches in college that sometimes just choose to stay there. So it's not necessarily a slight, but you do think that you're always going to be amongst the best and the best, and that's not always the case.
So tell me, where are you? It's funny. There are some guys like Brett Favre, they never get hurt. And then there's guys like Garoppolo, who by week 2 or 3 every year always seems dinged up. And some of it's just genetics, it's DNA. Some guy, John Lynch once told me, I love John. John's like, I never had a concussion. And I'm like, what? 12 years, you were knocking people out with your top of your helmet. I don't understand it. But John swears, I never had concussions. Would you be concerned that Garoppolo is simply, and I'm sure you played with guys like this, he's brittle. His body doesn't withstand the season.
Yeah, it's a real concern, Colin. It really is for certain players. They just get hurt a lot. I've played for quite a while. I had the one deal where I almost died with Tommy, but other than that, I was able to stay on the field quite most of the time. It is a real concern, and I think that there are a couple of different things that play into that. One is just there's some brittleness maybe, but there's another piece that just like sometimes guys just don't know how to fall properly,
Right.
and you just go down awkwardly. I remember when Russ and RG3 came into the league, same year, rookie year. And early on, RG3 was lighting the world on fire. Russ was playing well also. But I remember saying to somebody, like, man, RG3 just gets hit hard a lot. And Russ almost never gets hit hard. You watch him. He runs around, makes all these plays. He almost never gets hit hard. And so there is a thing to it that's beyond just being brittle. It's knowing how to fall and how to get hit and how to protect yourself.
Yeah. No, it is interesting. And I think it's funny. Kyler Murray played baseball and Russell played baseball. They're both great sliders. They both get, like Lamar Jackson I love, but there are times with Lamar, he's tall, he's thin, and he just gets smoked, and you can only take so many of those hits. Okay, finally, would you be comfortable doing what Deshaun Watson's doing? Like, 'cause I've had players tell me, I couldn't do it, man. I don't like the heat. I don't think Aaron Rodgers has the personality to say, I'm holding out. I don't think it's his personality. That's fine. Would you have the personality to say, listen, I don't trust my organization. I'm not playing. How would it land for you?
Well, the short answer is no. I never held out, and I just felt like the best way to handle a negotiation was to show up and be great at your job. But I also know that every situation is unique and every situation is different. And what Deshaun Watson is dealing with down there in Houston, it looks like it's going to be a really bad situation now for a while because there's no way to fix it. If they've exhausted other avenues with the organization to try to get them to move him, and that's not working. You don't get a lot of shots at this as an NFL quarterback.
Right.
And if it's going to be really awful for a long time, he's got to find a way out. And so I don't judge him for doing that, but that's not how I probably would have done it.
It looks like you're joining us from a mountainside in Montana. Am I correct?
That is correct, man. And up here, hiding out in the mountains, sitting by the fire, and I might even go slide around on the ski slopes here in a little while.
Look, has it been a good snow season for Montana?
It's been pretty thin. It's been pretty thin, but they got a bunch here the last couple weeks, so it's been pretty good recently.
All right, I want you to go to doubleback.com, doubleback.com. It's the best cab I've ever had, Doubleback Winery. And will you enjoy a glass on the mountain today, by the way?
When I'm done, you know, if my wife's with me, we'll have a little rosé at lunch. But when I'm by myself, and I'm just by myself today, I'll just go ski and then have a glass of wine when I'm done. And by the way, I haven't forgotten you guys. I've got some wine for you, Colin, and I've got some Joy Chardonnay coming down for Joy. Don't think I forgot you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, it is wonderful. Doubleback.com. The winery is remarkable. Check it out. Good seeing you, bud.
Yeah, likewise, Colin. Always great to see you. But I know you don't want to talk about it anymore. Really glad you're healthy, big guy.
Yeah, boy, that was no good. I didn't even get hit. Jeez, I can't imagine getting hit for a living. But I'm good.
Oh, man.
We're all good.
Good, man. We're all really glad you're back, bud.
All right. Thanks. Drew Bledsoe, really good guy.